We still have a couple of minutes left. So, you having a good time? I know you always have a good time.
Internet tam jde. Oboj máte v rychlejší. Těší se na internet, doma
Okay, let's start. Cool. Good morning again. My name is Aditya. I contribute towards Fedora infra. I help in migrating Puppet towards Ansible and some easy fix tasks. Right? Okay. So what are we going to talk about today? We are going to cover these points. The challenges that are faced by system administrators, any system guides for that matter. What are the solutions, what are the natural solutions that come to our mind, how we implement them. The most obvious solution like scripts and maybe Puppet or something like that, where they fail to help us or what are the shortcomings. Things like how Ansible will help us, Then I have a few slides and probably a demo to show you how basically Ansible works. We'll try to do a small Apache setup if time permits. Otherwise, I'll at least show you the playbooks, how they are written. What we achieve with Ansible, the kind of decentralization we achieve, and why that kind of decentralization is helpful to us. We'll talk a bit about that. And how you can help us in moving at a faster speed towards getting us out of Puppet and into the Ansible quickly, and how you can in general contribute to Fedora infra, right? So that's the agenda for next 45 minutes. Good. Okay. So this little guy there is a usual system admin. He's stuck in a wheel, stuck in a loop, because every day new servers come in, new applications are created, there are updates to those applications. Then he has to keep in mind that he is doing something on a VM or something else is happening on a physical server. Both from OS standpoint are usually alike, but from hardware standpoint they are miles apart. So there are certain complications. You have to make sure that initial configuration is the same. Say if you are installing two Koji servers, then you have to make sure both of them are identically same. You don't want them to be, a version apart or something like that. That will create a lot of problems. Management of these servers, you have to keep in mind that in long run they are easily manageable. Almost everything should be done via configuration management tools and less stuff by hands. Replication of these servers is important. That by replication I mean with scaling. So if traffic comes, I should be able to scale easily without creating a lot of problems, maybe without taking down times or without my users seeing the impact of actual scaling process, right? And of course there is access management, key management. What we do is we usually, whoever asks for access to Fedora infra, we put them in an apprentice group and we give them access to a certain set of servers. Of course, not sudo access, just normal access to a set of servers, so that the person or the contributor can look around, he can see the repos, clone the code, and send a patch eventually. But at any given point of time, we do not want a lot of people having that access as well, because many people might contribute for a while, but then they might not for a year or 2 years. So we have to keep on cleaning that, and all this has to be done on a very, very regular basis. So essentially, what happens is that there is a loop, and the sysadmin is stuck in the loop because he keeps on doing this thing over and over again, right? So what are the solutions for that? So the first one that comes to mind, hey, there is a script for that. I can write a script, right? Yep, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Hey, I can write this script. Okay, fair enough. You write a script. Eventually, you realize not a good idea. Then what do? Then you think, okay, I can be a puppeteer, or maybe a cook. So I will use Chef or Puppet, something like that, right? But then next thing comes in mind, would it scale? Or would it be easy? Can I learn that? They'll have their own DSLs, so would it be a problem? Basically, would you be able to sleep at night? So all those nightmarish things will come to your mind, and you will, sort of think that, okay, maybe scripts, maybe Puppet, maybe Chef, maybe something else altogether. So all that, keeps on playing in a loop again. Now, who has worked with Perl? Who all has worked with Perl? Don't be shy. Yep. Do you agree with my first line? I always ask this question. Do you agree with my first line?
I feel less.
Right.
Because you can do as much as 1,000 lines in that, but by that point you're doing noise.
Right. So yeah, basically your code starts looking dirty when you write scripts after some time. Maybe 1,000 lines, 50 for Perl. There is a lot of repetition. I think that goes with any programming language, scripts, or static binary or whatever. You always end up with a lot of code repetition. Next thing which I have faced is execution of code has to be, in order. Because, for example, if you try to, say, set up a virtual host before installing a web server, then things are bound to, behave in a very weird way. Probably not work at all. So you have to keep in mind that your entire execution is in a particular order. And of course, if you write scripts, you have to write documentation. So that I think is our favorite job, right? Writing documentation. I'm sure all of you have good documentation for your code, right?
Yeah, that's what comments are for.
What?
That's what comments are for.
Right. Ask the guy who read your code after a year. Okay. So we started off with Puppet. We ditched scripts long back. We started off with Puppet. Drawbacks. It worked fine because it was the only thing at that point of time. But the drawbacks which we saw was that we need to have an agent on all the machines. Right? Puppet will not work without having a proper agent. Puppet was based on Ruby, and by default we do not ship Ruby with Fedora or with Rail or CentOS with that matter, right?
No, we do, but not the version we have.
Okay, with Rail do we do?
Yeah, we have it in regular, it's just that usually the version of Puppet required is the version we ship.
Oh, okay.
So
Because I remember with CentOS we did 183, which was not what Puppet wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, right. Also, Puppet has its own DSL, which is not portable at all. You cannot tomorrow decide that I'll write a parser and create some reports or create some another query thingy, but no, that's not gonna work. At least not gonna work easily because the DSL is totally different. Again, this all is done with my limited experience with Puppet. If you guys have any criticism, I'm all open.
the biggest problem I had was the scalability.
Of Puppet?
Yeah, you have to be able, at a certain point you start creating puppets of puppets.
Yep.
And we weren't ready to build puppets of puppets to make it more scalable. So there was a sort of chicken egg issue.
Right, but how many?
Scalability of the puppet master itself. Then.
Yes, Puppet Master gets slower and slower the more.
Yes, true. I have observed that problem myself. The Puppet Master gets very slower. So the more configuration it needs to pass, the slower it becomes. And so there was a pretty bad module of Nangies. We didn't use it, somebody else did. And what that did was it used to parse CSVs to create Nangies configurations. So by the time there were like 200-300 Nangies configurations, it used to take 30 minutes for a Puppet, which was totally unacceptable because within 30 minutes there's another unbuilt trigger. And that was fun. Okay, so Ansible to the rescue, right? So what we do is we automate all the things. We use YAML. YAML is a very easily parsable markup language. Yeah. So it's very easy. How many of you have actually seen YAML before? Yeah, most of you. Yeah. Okay. Good one. So you know what YAML is. YAML is very easily parsable. So it's easy to generate more things out of it. If you are like done with Puppet and you want more tooling around it, more wrappers around it, that's easy to do. It uses OpenSSH as transport, which is a very good thing because all the Linux servers, at least all the ones we use or we have heard of, I have heard of, they all ship with OpenSSH, right? Every single server will have OpenSSH. It has parallel ordered execution. So by that I mean to say that you can run Ansible parallelly on as many hosts you want and in an ordered fashion. So for example, if I have written a playbook in which I first say install Apache and then some of my PHP dependencies and then create a virtual host and then install maybe MySQL or something like that. I can do that in an ordered fashion. I don't have to explicitly tell it that okay, here are the befores and here are the afters and here are the notices like we did in Puppet. So that helps in simplifying the code readability. You don't have to look okay. I have to go there. It's like having no pointers in C, which is I think always awesome. How many of you love pointers in C? Was it a yes or no? Yep, so pointerless service. Okay. Also, the biggest win was that, well, it doesn't require any agent. So as soon as my servers are there, I'm ready to go. I don't have to, manually do some configuration so that my configuration management works. That's a major win. Because I don't want to configure things so that my configuration system can work against it, right? Okay. How do you install Ansible on servers? Simple. Just use yum. We've got I think almost the latest one of the Ansible in the repos. You can use it. If you can SSH into the server, you can run Ansible. So that is the key which I want to put it out. As soon as you can SSH, you can run Ansible. You do not need any further configuration on the server side. So that's amazing. You can run ad hoc commands, which is not possible with Puppet directly. You have to either set up an collective or some sort of another tool chain to do ad hoc commands with Puppet. But you can run ad hoc commands here. You can run scripted files like playbooks. Playbooks are identical to Puppet modules if you have used them. So you can run playbooks, which will set up your servers and get you all the tooling and all the features and all the setup which you want. Right? Okay. Next we have inventory file. So inventory file is like the list of all the servers you have with their roles defined and what all you can do with them. So this is an example inventory file which I have. What it does is I have defined web servers and databases. So it has two web servers and two databases, and then I have defined a SMTP. Notice that my web server is acting as an SMTP. So now whatever I run on web server role, which will be executed on both the servers, but whatever I run against my SMTP role will be executed only on web server, right? So you can have multiple hosts having, you can have single host having multiple rows as well as multiple hosts having single rows. So both works. Okay. Right. So how to run ad hoc commands? So this is a ad hoc module ping. So say you have 100 servers and you want to know how many of them are alive, how many of them are reporting properly. So what you can do is you can just run Ansible, web servers is the row, and ping module against it. You can specify a keyword all, which will run ping module against all the servers, right? So that way you can run ad hoc commands. This is another example. Say you want to run an ad hoc, ad hoc command or something. Maybe during Heartbeat we all ran yum update, OpenSSL and all those things. So Ansible can help you to do that really quickly across your entire collection of servers. All you need to do is just do a Ansible all and use the module command and then run the command. It will give you a return code, which is RC, and whatever the output was. Right? You're good till now? Okay, so this is a small playbook which I've created. It defines the hosts. Name is, you can give any string there. Host is against what host you want this particular, script to run. Then you have tasks. What do you want? For example, I want to copy my SQL configuration and Once I have copied it, I want to restart my SQL. So that's how you do it. You have handlers to handle certain conditions. For example, if something happens, then do this. So that kind of sequence can be handled by handlers, right? Okay. So why decentralization is helpful? Now we moved on to Puppet to achieve decentralization so that we can run everything from a single place. And then all of a sudden we realize, oh no, decentralization is the thing, we'll go with decentralization. Why? It's because decentralization helps us to get rid of all the ACLs. You need to give ACL on the server side, not on the central node. You can run Ansible from your machine, from any machine that can particularly SSH into the remote machine. Unlike Puppet, where you need to give root access to run something, which is very bad. Right? No more damn the orchestration went down because it's totally decentralization. Okay, it's like saying gate went down, which doesn't make any sense. You have one server less to manage, and best part is that it works from anywhere. You don't need to set up. You don't need a central server again. All these points are to achieve decentralization, right? Okay. At Fedora Infra, we started off with Puppet, as I already told you. Creating from scratch roles and playbooks is actually easier. At least in my opinion, it's easier than migrating from a mammoth like Puppet, right? All those guys who have worked here on the migration, do you guys agree with me or not on this one? If we would have created everything from scratch, it would have been a bit easier than migrating from Puppet, right?
You hear?
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, at times you get the feeling of killing. Now, I remember that we have that proxy module that we are trying to migrate some stages. It's still there. But we are almost done. Yesterday we spent a few minutes. I was sitting with Kevin and we made a list of how many modules or servers we have. I think we have less than 10, which is a very big thing for the entire migration efforts. Like we actually are very close to that. So we have worked really hard. We have focused on idempotent playbooks. I know some of my pull requests were just shut down. This is not going to work. This is not idempotent, especially the SE Linux ones. So we have worked really hard towards that. We use accelerate mode all over. So accelerate mode is by default Ansible do SSH and creates a new SSH connection for all the communication. What accelerated mode does is first it SSHs and then it starts a new daemon which listens on a port which I am not able to recall right now. It launches a daemon which starts itself on a new port and new connections are not made. So the key handshake doesn't happen all the time. Yes, traffic is still encrypted by AES, but this one is way faster than usual SSH. We use accelerated mode everywhere to further speed up the things. And best part which I have realized after working in infra is that you get to learn a lot of things which you should not do, and that's a very good learning experience. You should not make playbooks that are not idempotents. You should not you should be very careful with SLM, especially. Right. So I want everyone to help us in this migration and further in Fedora Infra. Fedora is leading edge. We lead by example. We adopted Ansible very quickly when it came out, and we are, I think, doing really well. So I want you guys to help us in porting more modules. There are very few left. There are a few easy fix ones. So if you want to start, we have a couple of easy fix which can help you get started really quickly. We have easy fix modules. People are always there on IRC. I know a few people. I don't know if they ever sleep or not. I don't know if 3V or Kevin ever sleeps. Like always 24/7, just ping them and they'll be there. So you can just talk to us at Fedora admin, and we'll be there to help you as much as we can. So yep, that's the end of slides. I tried to do a demo. Should you be interested? But I don't know how much it will work given the way internet is awesome here. So let's see. Anyways, if you guys have any question on this one, yeah. I'm really sorry.
You have to come down.
No, I don't want to.
In Puppet you have things so-called states. I mean, it operates managing states, not executing something. And in Ansible you just run commands, and yeah, you try hard to make it idempotent, but do you actually write some like collecting information commands and operate on top of this data?
Okay. So the question is that like Puppet manages states. Puppet knows that a file has changed or not, or what kind of configuration changes are there on the system. Does Ansible do that? Yes, Ansible knows what checksum of the last file was. So the files etc. would be changed if and only if there are changes. By idempotent, I mean to say that so sometimes modules are not available for all the tasks that you want to do. So you will, for example, in Puppet you would have done certain execs, right? To execute a command. That exec should be idempotent. That's what I want to say. Your execs should not always fire, irrespective of the need to be fired. So that's what my idea was. Okay. There was another question. Yep.
My question was that you have mentioned in the configuration file part, like there are handlers and tasks and stuff like that. But I would like to ask about the access control list. Like, if it's possible to have some kind of mapping of user names or user roles. Mapping, like.
Okay. So from what I understand, your question is that is it possible to have certain user mapping, like user X, and user X only should be able to execute this?
At this host execute under this username and
Yes, of course, that's possible. You can define that this task should be executed as this user. That is possible. But as I said, there is no access management. Your access management is defined by your SSH and PAM modules. If you can sudo as that user, only then you can run the Ansible playbook as that user. Right? As long as you have permission to do that, your Ansible playbooks will have permission to do that.
Basically, you need to configure the roles at each of the systems or machines you control.
Right, but I suppose when you first set up your, during the first run of Ansible, when you have the root access, I think first thing which you will do is create users, keys, permissions, all those things. So I suppose that can be taken care of via Ansible only, and eventually runs on. Yep.
So you can, in the Ansible, on the command line, you can specify, say you're doing initial run, and you are wanting, it's the first time, you can tell it, I know the password, query, and then it hands the password over, so that, say you had to log in as root over there, and you haven't set up a key already. It's not clean that way, because, but you can log in over the network, get the thing, and set up the initial stuff. So usually what we do is we have an initial sort of playbooks that we run, set up the box so that the second run or later in the run, depending on how you set up the playbooks, first part of the playbook says, set up what I need to know, or find out if the machine is already set up. if the machine is not set up, do this. If the machine is set up, go to the next area and start doing your next two playbooks.
Maybe yet one question related with that. Like, is there some kind of prevention? Because you said that there are some kind of initial scripts or I don't know how to say script plots in Ansible. And is there some way or of control or prevention not to run the setup scripts again, like the host?
Yeah,
like,
so okay, again, I'm sorry, they are idempotent, right? So once you run those initial set of scripts, even if you fire them again, nothing will happen. Theoretically, nothing should happen if you have no playbooks well written.
Yeah, you can write a playbook that doesn't do that, or you can write a playbook that does do that. Basically, it's I can shoot myself in the foot if I want to, because sometimes you need to shoot yourself in the foot, and other times you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot. So if you write your playbook so that it isn't idempotent, you can set up the machine every time if you want.
Yeah, but at least usually the common file. So actually, I should show you. Wait, I have. Yeah. I lost a tab. Okay, I have lost a tab. Interesting. Basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you guys how we have designed the entire thing in our Fedora repositories. That might give you a very good idea of how it is. This is not the tickets. Does anyone know remember the URL for the Ansible repo here?
Infrastructure.fedoraproject.org/ infrastructure.fedoraproject.org/c/Ansible. Yeah.
Okay.
You're in a different place in the tree right now, but you're already in the tree.
Oh, I want one level up.
Yeah.
Yep. So. Okay. Okay, so we have made sure that we are following the best practices. We have segregated our playbooks and roles in such a way that all the idempotency conditions, all the problems that we have are minimal or at least very less. What I have in mind. So there is a set of common playbooks we have, which we run on every machine, and what that does is that does the initial setup, which gentleman there who was talking about. So we do not need to set it up every time. We just run those set of playbooks once. It has the common role inherited. Common role will ensure that it generates the users and the keys and set up the variables and all those things initially. And after that it becomes idempotent. So even after that we run, it will only change the things which are by mistakenly changed on the server or any manual changes if there are. So that helps a lot in doing entire configuration management and helps us. So we have a separate files for handlers for like restart or SE booleans or things like that. We have inventory files and we have actually here. See how many servers did we migrate? Wow. 674. I'm assuming that 100 white lines. Even then we have like 500 plus servers there.
Well, that's not unique.
Yeah, some of them would not be unique, I suppose.
And some of them aren't all the way transported over. They're-
Okay, fine, we'll take it. Go 50.
You've done a lot. You have done a lot.
Okay. Yep, so these are the variables. For example, say we have things like what base packages we have and service enabled, like audit is something which you want on all the machines. So we have that enabled. Okay, anyways, so the idea was to show you the repo. You can go around, play with this, you can clone this, try to explore what we are doing and try to help us out so that we can reach our goal faster. Let's move on to demo before we are late. Anybody has any other question? Okay.
Is there equivalent like Puppet Forge?
Yes, there is Ansible Galaxy. It's relatively new. There aren't as many modules as Puppet has, but it's good enough. You'll find almost all general cases modules there, general cases plugins. But wait, you can contribute open source. Yep.
The Ansible mailing list is also fairly active, but it's active in a different way than most people are used to. The Ansible people really concentrate during the day on their day job of fixing patches and such. And then it's almost like at 5 o'clock Eastern time, they hit the email. So you might put a request in, and I've seen this with other people, they put in a request, and they get really frustrated because they haven't gotten an answer within 30 minutes or an hour. And then at 6 o'clock Eastern time, Eastern US time, boom, 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 they answer all the stuff. So if you do have a problem and you do ask a question, just realize that it's not going to be the same sort of thing that you might get on different places.
The community which we have in Puppet is actually much more wider, much more widespread across the globe. Ansible is good, but it hasn't reached that community point there yet. I'm sure it will reach there sometime where you'll have, people helping out all the time and all those things. But it's gonna take some time, so we have to be patient with them. Usually there's a lot of help available on Ansible mailing list or IRCs or Stack Exchange websites. So I think for now that should be good enough.
No, question.
Yep.
If I recall correctly, the infrastructure Puppet is applied automatically every some time frame, and is this done for Ansible Git for some hosts or for all of them somehow or not?
Okay, from what I understand the question is that we still have Puppet which is doing something periodically, and then how do we execute Ansible?
Yeah, if we apply those changes for some hosts automatically, or we have to run the playbook or via airbag.
Okay, so we use crons, I think, right? We use cron.
So there is a cron that runs a check every day.
Yeah,
So it basically runs a check and a diff against everything. So if anything changes in that, we can see, where something was missed.
But
Right now, we're not running it automatically. We probably will at some point.
currently, if you make a change, you say you want to push out a new change, it's up to you to push out the change.
Okay.
Mainly because the fact is that we're still trying to figure out. There's sometimes when you've committed a change and you don't want to push it yet, and we're finding with Puppet we're running into that a lot, where we commit something because we wanted to get it committed, or we changed something and it changed something else and you weren't ready and it pushed, you ran right in the middle of the 30-minute thing. So we've gone to more of currently when you make the change, you push the change, or you run the playbook when you think you're ready to run the playbook versus letting Puppet or Ansible do it.
We have two sources of truth at the moment, both Puppet and Ansible, and those sources of truths at times can conflict. So Puppet is there, it runs every 30 minutes, but Ansible, as Kevin said, it's a prompt which just tells you what all changes are there, and then you can, if you like the changes or if you want to make the changes, you can execute Ansible against those machines manually. I think as we move towards Ansible, we will sometime going to retire Puppet, and at that point of time is when we will actually put Ansible on an automatic mode. So Ansible supports a pull mode as well, so it can act as a centralized server. It can pull configurations periodically from a central server, also from a Git repository or something like that. You don't need to be pushing it always. It has both the goodness, both the sides. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Let me try for the demo. Although, let's see.
Do we see something?
First I have to boot the machine.
Okay.
Am I audible? Yeah. Okay, not visible at all. Still not visible. Does somebody know how to change Vim's color scheme?
You should just turn it off. A quick thing, if you just highlight.
Yeah, I tried highlighting. See?
No, with your, oh, that's better. How do you turn off color altogether?
Yeah, I'll try that.
I can Gvim defaults to white background.
Yeah?
We've got 5 minutes.
No, so the beach job.
Oh, okay, I find that. Okay, at least I show this paper, not the. Yeah. Okay, so this is going to run a simple install of Apache. Basically, this is the playbook which will put you on the install page of WordPress. Okay. What it does is that it will run against the role demo. So demo in the inventory file, demo will have a set of IPs or an IP. It will run against that. It will have the MySQL root password. I have defined a variable MySQL root password, and I have set the value as demo. Of course, not very secure. You can put it anything. Usually, this doesn't reside here. Passwords are not in the same repo. What we do is we have another private repo for passwords, but this is what we are. This is just a demo, so that's why I've done that. We'll use sudo because we need to install certain things, and we'll need sudo privileges to run yum. Here are the tasks which I need to do. I'll install Apache, PHP, and other dependencies. Apache, PHP, MySQL Server. I need MySQL Python. Why I need MySQL Python? This is not a requirement for WordPress. This is a requirement for Ansible to do certain operations on MySQL. So that's why MySQL Python is required. And PHP, MySQL, and A is because of WordPress requirements. Then we have, let's see, we start HTTP and MySQL services. So simple. We have to make sure that services started, right? Next set of lines will just update the MySQL root password. We have given demo. You can give anything else, and then we'll just upload the my.config for credentials. My.config, you do not need to redefine the passwords everywhere. You just define the variable. It will pick up from the variables. Okay. So that's it. and then it's gonna set the root password. So when you first install the MySQL manually, you run initial setup steps, right, for MySQL to create a new user, set up passwords, drop anonymous tables and test tables and all those things. So that all can be done by others, right? Then I create a MySQL database and user. I then download WordPress. Now this is actually a bad thing from my part because this is not idempotent, right? If you delete this file, the idempotency is gone. Latest.tar. So it always checks that latest.tar is there. If the tar is there, yep.
Sorry, a related question. So this I think is obvious why it's not idempotent. Why isn't the installing of MySQL not idempotent, right?
Installing of MySQL is idempotent. If it's already installed, it's not gonna reinstall it.
Well, that's kind of my question. So how does it know not to reset the password again?
How does it? Okay.
Like, what is there some block that says this is previously done or something? This is what I'm confused about.
That MySQL user module knows how to check MySQL's configuration.
It first checks.
It would to not reset the password.
Right.
So the first thing is
behind
that
the scene that's not in this config that does this for you.
Sorry?
There's something inside that MySQL Python stuff is not, it's doing stuff that's not in the config, but it does answers your question.
MySQL module does that sort of check. Okay, first thing which I want to point out is that MySQL module will do check that it does need to set it up or not. Right? The module which we are using to do all these things. Second thing is that anyways it will fail because it's writing a blank MySQL with a password. Next time when it tries to do that, there will be a password protected MySQL, right? Against which it will try to set it up. Although that doesn't happen. I've tested it many times. It doesn't happen. I'm just okay. Yeah. So that one yes. Okay. So this is the last time. I just stopped the IP tables. Not the good thing. I should have set the right rules. That's it. I'm done. Anybody has any questions? We can talk. Otherwise.